Okay then, YouTube.
Right on the
Okay then, YouTube.
track. What's going on, everyone, and welcome back to another Tuesday night where you are live here with Double M, the Double M Show. You got Mr. Mike Nice,
Oh, what's poppin'?
DJ Miz. What's going on, Brody?
Hey, at home edition number, who knows what, but we still back with it once again.
I mean, the way these phases are going, who knows? Who
Oh,
knows how long we here for?
we might be breaking out of the crib soon and into where we're supposed to be at coming up shortly. But in the meantime, we here on another Tuesday night. It is June 23rd.
June 23rd,
Wow.
man.
Okay.
We've entered the summertime. It is summertime now during COVID-19. We're gonna see what the summer brings us. I hope everybody's out there being healthy, making smart decisions, and being safe as always, as we try to be as well.
Yeah.
I saw recently, buzz on the street is there's supposed to be another stimulus check coming up some people's way.
Show me the money.
There's supposed to
Money
be another
talks.
check coming our way. We'll see if that happens. A player definitely needs a little extra cash, so that wouldn't hurt at all. But we'll see what the government, Trump, whatever he comes in mind with. But here on Double N, we got a lot of things to talk about. You guys know we bring culture, we bring sports, and whatever you guys want to talk about on this show. And we're going to be talking sports, but not the sports you guys usually hear us talk about this time. It's going to be an interesting show of Double M. And Mike Nice, take it away, man.
So yeah, Marv said it. We talk about a lot of different things, and we don't necessarily always narrow on one topic. Depending on what's popping right now, what's going on in the world, whether it be sports, entertainment, a little bit of news, media, we're going to tackle it all here. So one topic we definitely want to touch upon is something that's been hot lately. Over the last couple of weeks, if you're a fan of wrestling and you're a fan of, the WWE, formerly known as the WWF, we grew up on as the WWF. There's been one guy who's been around for years. I'm talking years. I don't care about who's come and gone over the years, who's been around, who's wrestled. There's been one guy that everybody knows. I don't even care if you're a big time wrestling fan, but you know this name. And that name is the Undertaker.
The GOAT.
The GOAT. And he had a documentary just dropped in the wrestling world. That's maybe equivalent to The Last Dance.
Yeah.
It's equivalent to The Last Dance in the wrestling world, in the WWE world. And if you know who the Undertaker is over the years, this has been a guy who's had a role, which we'll talk about more once we dive into it, but he's kind of been on the quiet side, never really taken interviews, speaking to the media, anything like that. But as his career is winding down, he pretty much let the cameras go behind the scenes on his life and everything that's been happening to him within the last couple of years. So we'll dive into more on that. But, that's another sports entertainment conversation we're going to have for sure. Also, Bubba Wallace in NASCAR. News coming out recently about a noose being found in, I guess, is like his locker room in a sense. Garage, locker room type thing in NASCAR. And, huge story that came out, especially in regards to everything that's going on in society right now. So we definitely want to have that conversation. And then we might tackle football. The NFL is trying to come back. But with COVID-19 and then just knowing what the sport of football is, how the hell is it going to work? So some topics right there. And of course, per usual, we want to hear from you guys. Whatever you want to talk about, whatever you have in mind, drop it in the comments. We are live on IG. We are live on YouTube. So wherever you at right now watching Double M, please feel free to throw comments, topics in there for sure.
For sure. All right, man. So get into it. Like you just said, man, you broke it down pretty much. Undertaker, the last ride. It's called five-part WWE documentary that came out recently. I think the final one just aired. If you have WWE Network, that's where you can check it out. And it breaks down Undertaker's 30-year career in the WWE. Mike's been a fan. I've been a fan of wrestling for a long time. I don't currently watch it no more, but when I was watching it, Undertaker was the staple. He was the guy, the GOAT. You know, this is a guy who's been through it all, won all the championships you can think of, has been in all the match. They've created matches because of him and of who he is. And we finally get to see the behind the scenes of Undertaker, and what supposedly looks like he might have had his last match at WrestleMania with AJ Styles. But if you watch any of the documentary, you know there's always something that keeps Undertaker going to have that one more match. This man is 55 years old, but it's continuing to fight. One takeaway from this documentary, it's good. It's really good. I didn't know how normal, this is where it's going to say, Undertaker was. Like, I understand, obviously, the Undertaker is a character. Yep. But to play that Undertaker character, in my whole life, my opinion, I always thought you needed to be a little twisted in the head to play that character. This is a man who praises death and satanic and all of this stuff. It's a very dark, scary character. Watching, the five-part documentary, it humanizes Mark Calloway, and you see he's just a regular dude like the fish, has wife, kids. He really chilling, has great conversation. He doesn't seem socially awkward at all. And it's like, oh, wow. So this is just really what he did. And he was really normal to me. I expected to see him a lot weirder to play that character.
Yeah, I hear that 100%. Like you said, growing up, there was times back in the day when I used to watch wrestling where, Undertaker would come on the TV. And as a little kid, I would run and hide and tell my older brother and father to let me know when he's finished doing his thing, because I was shook. Like you said, to play that character or just be that person, you would think he's kind of sick and twisted and dark. I mean, that character was all about death and all black, everything. Like, Undertaker was a scary guy growing up as a little kid. And like you said, Marv, you watch that documentary and there's nothing dark and twisted about him. He had a character that he has played for over 30 years. And I mean, if you follow wrestling, obviously he switched the character up a couple of times, but for the most part, he's had a character that he's played for over 30 years, and he damn near perfected it. Like, everything he did as that character, it seemed like he did it completely well. And I heard in another interview that he had, there's nothing he did as the Undertaker over the years that he wanted to change. He felt like he did it exactly how he wanted it to go. And I mean, I think one thing that many people probably didn't understand from the document, or just from him as who he was as a person, he never wanted to be in the public eye because he wanted to stay true to the character so much. Like, you stay true to the character
because it wouldn't make sense for the Undertaker
exactly
to do that.
And I mean, you could talk about his loyalty to the character, his loyalty to the company. There was a time period where guys were jumping ship and going to the other companies and doing different things, or leaving to do movies, or a whole bunch of different stuff. If there's one guy who stayed loyal to the company and through the business over the years he's been there, it's the Undertaker. Like, we haven't seen him do anything different in terms of trying to go somewhere else or do something. Like, he has stayed loyal to the WWE for all these years.
Yeah, man. And, not only was he had a crazy character, but he was good. He was a good wrestler. Very damn good. 6'8" dude. And, slow, very thoughtful in his moves, but next thing you know, he'll do a flip out of nowhere. He'll jump. He'll sacrifice his body. And one thing you learn from watching this documentary is how many people he didn't mind putting over, because he was like the big brother to everyone. He didn't mind putting Cena over. He didn't mind putting Randy Orton over, and really having those guys take it to the next step. Thinking that they would be the future, but he just never left. He never left, and he stayed true to character, and he's the threshold, right? He's the guy that everyone wants to be. There's been great wrestlers in the WWE world. There's been the Hulk Hogan's. There's been The Rock. There's been John Cena. There's only one Undertaker, though. He's been there through it all, every night, putting his body to pain. And that's where we get to what this documentary is about.
Yeah.
Putting it started, I think, in 2017, and it just chronicalizes it all the way up to 2020, up to the last WrestleMania that happened in April. And Undertaker goes through a lot. Like I said, this man is 55 years old. His back is done, his hip is done, his knees are done. Every fight he does, he's looking slow. And there was times when we would watch him, and we'd be like, nah, man, Taker, my favorite. He needs to go, bro. He looking slow. He doesn't have it no more. And then Taker would watch it and say, nah, he's seen it too. Like everything we thought he saw, he was like, nah, I gotta get better. He'll lose weight, start a fight again. If he had a good one, he had that rush to get back into it. And it's a drug. If that's all you know for 30 years, since you were 20 years old to now you're 55, all you know is the WWE, all you know is wrestling. You don't know how to let it go. And you can see that a little bit in Taker, just not knowing when enough is enough.
Yeah, man.
Like this was a 5-part documentary. Should have just been 2 parts.
Yeah. Every time, from the outside looking in, you take this documentary out of the picture. We as fans, you just watching and you're like, yo, why does this dude keep coming back to wrestle? Like he's getting older. His match is starting to suck. He can't move like he used to. He looks like he's out of shape, slow, huffing and puffing. And you're like, why does he keep coming back for more? It makes no sense. And then you get this documentary to really break down what goes into his thought process with these matches. And, they have a lot of other wrestlers come in and talk during the documentary about, why he's doing it. Why does he keep going different things? And it's just really interesting from his perspective. Like, for a while, I mean, it's kind of towards the part 5, he has a different tone, but it's like for a while, he's just chasing, one great match. And it's weird. It's weird watching him listen to him say it because it's like, yo, it's not going to be that one great match because you don't have it anymore.
You don't have it.
But like himself, he can't come to terms with that. He thinks that, well, he was thinking that it's still out there. No matter how old he gets, he needs to have that one great match and then he'll go out. Let me have that one great match and then he'll go out. He thought he had it one time. He sucked. He wants to come back. He thought he had another time. He sucked. He wants to come back. He had a great match and said, oh, I feel good. Let me come back. Like the passion that he has, the desire that he has is really interesting to see, especially in a guy that's aging and knowing he physically can't do it anymore. But mentally, it's like, I got to try again. I got to come back and do it again. And again, it goes back to his loyalty for the company, for the business, and for Vince McMahon, who's the owner of the WWE. Literally anything that Vince McMahon asked him to do, he'll do. They'll have maybe conversations here and there about it, but he said it multiple times. If Vince calls me and needs me, I'll be ready to go whenever. Even to this day, he probably feels
for sure. And like we're talking about putting your body on the line every time you do this.
Yeah, wrestling's fake. Like we don't have to sugarcoat it for kids watching. Wrestling's fake. It's a fake whole performance and whatnot. But when they throw themselves through tables and throw themselves on the floor,
you're still throwing your body out on the line, and you're talking about a man over 50. If any wrestlers over 40 doing it, I'd be looking at them crazy. But that's the norm now. But with the fight with Goldberg that they showed, and when he almost broke his neck, Goldberg was done. Goldberg was done. Goldberg didn't know what he was doing, and Undertaker was trying to be nice about it. Like, I'm not gonna blame anybody. It's not anybody's fault. Goldberg was done. He got concussed, didn't know what he was doing, and almost snapped Undertaker's neck in half. He got out of it. Okay, his back was done. I think he got surgery or whatever, and he still fought more after that. Just chasing that because he doesn't want the fans he doesn't want to leave out with the fans remembering him old. Honestly, it's too late. We've already seen him old. But when Undertaker goes out, we're not going to be thinking about the last 4 or 5 years. No one's talking about the last 4 or 5 years. When I think about Undertaker, I think about the American Badass. I think about the years after that when his feud with Shawn Michaels and Triple H. Those are the Undertaker memories I'm gonna keep with me. Not this old Undertaker that uses more gimmicks than fights. And it's okay, Taker. It's okay.
Yeah, and his wife said it best, I think, in that part 5 too. That man's legacy in the world of wrestling has been solidified years ago.
They have it in the Madison Square Garden. I didn't even know that.
Like he didn't have to wrestle Goldberg. He didn't have to wrestle, that tag team match with Shawn. Like he didn't have to do any of that to solidify who he is. Like he's not chasing no titles. He doesn't need no big title match or win or anything like that. That man just comes back to wrestle just out of love for what it is, what wrestling is, the entertainment aspect being in front of it. That's all he does it for. And, he does it at this point in his life. He doesn't have to do it, but he still wants to. If you fast forward now to the part 5, I mean, unless you want to bring anything up from the other parts of the documentary that stood out to you. If you fast forward to part 5, when, the match was set up between, AJ Styles and Undertaker at WrestleMania, and we had this conversation too. Thanks to COVID-19 being out there, WWE had to do things differently. Unlike other sports entertainments, whatnot, WWE said, we don't care about Corona.
Yeah, it's Vince McMahon.
We're going to keep it rolling. The show must go on is their tagline. The show must go on. And because of this, they have to get creative in the match, a lot of the matches that they did at WrestleMania, and getting creative in one aspect is having these type of cinematic movie type matches. And they did that for the Undertaker versus AJ Styles, where they wrestled at like a graveyard / barn type thing, and different camera angles and a lot of dialogue between them fighting, kind of just a brawl, just a wrestling match, a brawl. And that thing, it came out pretty damn good. It was a good little show. It was a good if you like wrestling entertainment and want to enjoy some kind of entertainment fake show, it was good for what it was, compared to if Undertaker got into the ring against a guy like
it was good
AJ
for
Styles, who is at the top of his game in a sense, and what they all keep considering is probably one of the best wrestlers in the business right now. If they had a regular wrestling match inside of a ring, it probably wouldn't have looked pretty for Undertaker. Trying to keep up with AJ Styles and the different moves and taking the hard hits and bumps and whatnot, it probably wouldn't have been good for the Undertaker. So in all honesty, in terms of wrestling, the coronavirus was a blessing in disguise in terms of keeping Undertaker out of the ring and letting him do something else that was pretty much all set up. He wasn't doing anything super strenuous on his body, his joints, and he was able to put on a good show, which is really pretty much what wrestling is. That's all wrestling is, putting on a good show for the people watching.
Yeah, and besides just the Taker part of it, this might have been not the first, but one of the WWE documentaries where you get to see a lot of behind the scenes of everything, right? You get to see how people react when they get back from the ring. If people are cheering, sometimes it's celebrations. Sometimes, like Taker was done, and everyone rushing to him to see if he's okay. Or sometimes you just see wrestlers hanging out, shooting the shit, just watching the fight or whatever. So you got to see a bit of that. One thing I gained a lot of respect for the sport in itself in wrestling, just watching what they do and understanding how they put their bodies in it. And another thing is, I always thought, when you see all these wrestlers together, like, they're always rehearsing with each other before the fight, so they know exactly what they're gonna. It's on the go. Once you're a professional, you're a professional. It's not like you have on Tuesday you're fighting Goldberg, so you and Goldberg are gonna go outside and start practicing what you're gonna be doing. And the 5-minute mark, this is what I'm gonna do. And no, it's obviously the fight's predetermined, and then from there, you guys go and you have your fight.
Pretty much.
And that's dope to me. I thought a lot of it was more rehearsed than that.
It's a lot of acting, but on the same time, like on the fly, like as the match happens. And if you really pay attention and watch, like dead ass, you can see them talking to each other while they're fighting, like, hey, do this next, or all right, get ready for this. And then you have the referees there who have a headset on, who's getting information from the back, who sometimes telling the guys, like, it's a lot of script and whatnot. But again, what a lot of the stuff that they're doing inside of the ring, the moves and whatnot, it's real. Like it's real to that in that aspect. And like you said, and I agree with you, seeing all the backstage stuff about, them hanging out, having discussions after the match, they walk back through the curtain, before this documentary, you always trying to think, like, what happens when they get backstage after a match? literally sometimes they'll finish beating each other's ass. And as the winner walks up the ramp, fans cheering and whatnot, he'll stand right by the curtain and wait for the loser or the whatever to come to the back, and then they hug and talk about great match. Like it's interesting to see what the behind the scenes life is like, and this Last Ride documentary for the Undertaker really dove into a lot of that, and we got to see so much. And I don't know if we'll ever see another documentary like that, because there's not gonna be, in my opinion, anybody else like the Undertaker. Never again.
No, I mean, if you look at the roster now, and I don't know much of the roster, I don't see anyone going for 30 years right now in the WWE business.
Yeah, it's unlikely, especially in this day and age where you can go off and, maybe do a movie or start a TV show, or, now there's other companies out there who want you to wrestle for them. And there's a whole bunch of opportunities that can come your way. We saw that early on with, The Rock. He was pretty much the first guy to really, get big in wrestling and then take on big opportunities in Hollywood and make billion-dollar movies and whatnot. John Cena started trying to do that a little bit, and some of these other wrestlers up and coming could end up doing the same thing, probably, in a sense. So, yeah, I agree. I don't see anybody sticking around having the longevity that the Undertaker has had in the WWE.
Yeah.
But do you think he's done?
I think he's done. Did you see what he tweeted?
Yeah, he said tweeted thank you with a picture and whatnot.
Why tweet that?
I mean, hey, why did he do that thing after that one WrestleMania?
He thought he was done,
he left all this stuff
against Roman Reigns. I think he thought he was done, so and then he came and until he saw he sucked. Yeah. I think he's done this time. I mean, it's a perfect way to go out. You did something new, cinematic. Boom. You didn't. I mean, you unfortunately he did get hurt with the glass, but he got through it. It doesn't make sense for him to come back right now. This is it. He should have left when he beat John Cena's ass in that 2-minute match.
Nah, that's not going to do him justice. I think the reason why I'm okay with it, and I've been a huge wrestling fan and whatnot, is how they set up the match in terms of like he kind of brought in all of his personalities into that match. When they explained the match that they had, it was a little bit of the old school Dead Man Undertaker mixed in with a little bit of the American Badass Undertaker mixed in with a little bit of who he was as just Mark Calloway, the man. And that's something different. You got a taste of it all. Not something we've never seen before. And I mean, honestly, even in other sports, sometimes it's best to go out on top. And you've seen it in a lot of other sports. They go out on top. And even though wrestling's fake, they call it sports entertainment. And that match he had against AJ Styles is him going out on top, if that's what it is, in my opinion.
Yeah, well, we don't need to see Taker no more. I mean, I love the guy. That's my favorite. You know me, Mike. I haven't watched wrestling in years, but I'll watch WrestleMania of Undertaker's in there just to keep up to see what he's
drew a lot of people back.
what he's doing. So, like, if Taker's done, I'm done. We'll both go off of this.
If you not watch the wrestling no more?
I don't need to watch wrestling.
What if The Rock comes back for a match?
If he comes back for a match, I wouldn't know who he's fighting. Unless it was like Rock and Cena come back. I know there's some good fighters. Like I know AJ Styles is his wrestling style is very unique. They reminds people of Shawn Michaels and things like that. Yeah. And if there's nothing to do, I'll put it on just to see what's new out there, see what kind of new wrestlers there. But it's not something that I will keep up with all the time.
Yeah, I mainly watch to see, which is I guess doesn't make sense. I mainly watch to see if like old wrestlers come back. Like right now, Edge was back.
Yeah, I seen that when I watched WrestleMania.
Yeah, he was there for a little bit. I like to see when old wrestlers come back. But like right now, with how things are set up, it's kind of tough to do that, I guess. But over the years, you've seen The Rock come back. You've seen Goldberg come back. You see Edge come back recently. You saw Sting come back if you watch old WCW.
Yeah, that's the beauty of YouTube, though.
Yeah, so that's mainly what I keep up for. There's a lot of new guys and new faces. I mean, it's a lot, but shout out to The Undertaker.
Yeah, thank you for
giving the business, man.
Thank you for WWE Network.
True.
If you have that nostalgic feeling, you can watch mostly any fight you want.
And it'll take you back, man. It's different type of wrestling from what we grew up with and what there is now.
Right. So let's talk a little bit about wrestling in general. Now let's move apart from Undertaker and WWE in itself, right? So we talk about when we're kids, you know, you get that nostalgic feeling. And there's a bunch of characters. Characters is what makes WWE. Characters. And WWE had representations of everybody. All different. You had the cool guy, the slick talker, the guy who gets all the girls. You had the badass raunchy dude, MFer. This is mostly during the Attitude Era. You had the brawl, a guy who's just brawling, doesn't care about anything else. He's just fighting. You had a slick talker. Yeah, you had all different characters. So especially when you're a kid and kids are starting to really get to watch WWE. Representation matters, right? We talk about representation all the time. And WWE does not have a lot of black superstars. Very, very few. Now, you have Booker T. I think he was the most prominent one during my era that I used to see all the time. It's like, all right, that's the guy. You had Mark Henry as well. Then I remember when Bobby Lashley came out, and I was so excited just to see a Bobby Lashley there dominating him, big dude. And it looked like WWE was really trying to push him as well when it came to Bobby Lashley. But then you had the other side of WWE when they didn't know how to handle black WWE superstars. Yeah, Crime Time who came out. Rest in peace, Shad Gaspard. You had what's that heel faction that they had in the 90s?
Nation of Domination.
Nation of Domination. They were the bad guys who tried to, you know, F America and Black Panthers. So they were racist as hell, WWE. If we're being quite frank with it. And it's interesting as a kid, you don't have the knowledge of everything. So you just see it as it is and you let it go. When you grow up, you start seeing these things like, how the hell did they let this happen? You have this legit a clip of Vince McMahon saying, "What up, my N-word?" to John Cena right in front of Booker T. Like, these are things that have happened. And it's crazy to think that this is the stuff that was okay, or people thought it was okay during WWE era.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. You know, growing up, the most prominent black wrestler for me was The Rock. Who, you know, was my favorite wrestler of the time, still my favorite wrestler of all time. And, you know, they didn't really do any type of like, oh, The Rock's black, let's make him act a certain way. They didn't really do that with him too much. Booker T, I think in the same way, they didn't really do that with him too much. But then you do talk about these different tag teams that come out, like Crime Time. If you fast forward to today, the New Day in a sense, who have a little bit more freedom in what they do, which is interesting. But there's different segments backstage where you'll see they do some things that they're definitely trying to nitpick at different races and whatnot. There'll be certain characters who, because they need to play a certain way because they're black or they're Asian or they're Hispanic. Like, WWE is good for that.
Kofi Kingston.
Like,
dude's not even Jamaican.
Because he's black and he had dreads. Let's try to slap on a Jamaican accent and give him some Jamaican music when he comes out and when he talks. Like, WWE is interesting for that. And I mean, it makes no sense, but in their mind, I guess they're gonna say, well, they're trying to build characters. But then there's the blatant, like, okay, they're doing this because this wrestler's black, or they're doing this, okay, obviously because this wrestler's Asian. Okay, well, they're doing this obviously because this wrestler's, you know, Hispanic. WWE is notorious for having stuff like that over the years. I mean, instances are not popping out in my head right now, but there's been times in the back where Crime Time's
the worst
because the two black dudes are portrayed as gangsters who go around stealing stuff, trying to sell stuff under the table, different stuff like that. And on top of that, whenever they had interactions with other wrestlers backstage, those wrestlers would try to talk to them like
and slang, use hooks.
Perfect example. Crime Time had a segment backstage with DX. I don't know if you've seen this before. And DX at the time, they were like banned. They weren't allowed to get into the arena. So Triple H and Shawn Michaels go up to Crime Time, and Triple H is talking to Crime Time like all uppity and like, oh, hey guys, do you mind if I get some tickets to go to the show? And just talking, he's like so preppy and something like that. And then Crime Time is like, what the heck is this dude talking about? And then Shawn Michaels and Triple H huddle up, and Shawn Michaels tells Triple H, look, don't worry, I know how to talk jive. He goes back to Crime Time. God. He goes, yo, my homies, I need a 40 on it, down low, hook me up on it. That's the segment. And then Crime Time's like, okay, we know what you're talking about. Yeah, we get it now. That's an example right there of stuff and that's one of many examples.
One of many, bro. I don't remember that one, but that's
right there is blatant.
That's crazy.
And then as they're leaving, Shawn Michaels daps him, was like, all right, cool, good looks, my guys, good looks. And they walk up. Triple H says something like, all right, some stupid. It was blatant. Clearly, WWE wants it to be funny, but then at the same time, you know what they're doing and trying to get at.
Before Mark Henry was on Vlad TV, and he was saying before he was known as the world's strongest man, they were trying to push he's a silverback. This Mark Henry, the silverback. He went out to him and said, "You guys are not going to refer to me as no type of silverback." And Vince McMahon was like, "Are you sure? You sure you don't want like this? No knowledge of if I'm telling you I don't want to be known as a damn ape, I'm not going to be known as a damn ape." It's like, are you sure you don't want to go with that? I mean, if you don't want it to be said, we'll kill it. But are you sure? My kid's like, I'm sure. That's not going to happen. You guys are not going to call me no silverback. So it's like the ignorance in the WWE world, especially back then.
Oh, back then it was
bad.
It was very bad. Obviously, I think over the years they've tried to get with the times, trying to be a little more understanding. I think you see less and less segments like that. Obviously, right now, and they're kind of doing it again right now because there's a new group out there. Two black dudes. Name of the group is called the Street Profits, and they're kind of doing it. It's kind of doing the same. It's Crime Time, but a little toned down.
Right, but still, Street Profits.
Two black guys known as the Street Profits who talk slick and whatnot. One guy walk around with a red Solo cup, drinking who knows what. I don't know. WWE, whenever they get their hands on, especially black superstars for the most part, as long as you're somewhat entertaining, because they can't obviously do something like that with Bobby Lashley. You know, if he's not entertaining enough. But if you're a guy who comes in and you're black and you could talk and you're funny, they might try to find a slick role for you to be entertaining the crowd within some type of character that plays off the fact that you're black and some of the stereotypes that come along with being black. And again, they do this for black, Hispanic, Asian. Like, they got an Asian dude right now automatically coming to the ring with a bunch of ninjas around him. Like, that's WWE. I just seen that the other day. Asian dude, he has to come to the ring, gotta have a bunch of ninjas around him.
Who was the do you remember the Asian cowboy?
Yeah.
Who was
it's like Jimmy Wang Yang. Jimmy Wang Lang, something like that.
There's so many characters that have come in and out of WWE.
And that's just what it is, man. They're looking to build characters. How they go about trying to build and create characters.
Horrible.
It's very horrible and questionable. And then another aspect of WWE, along with that, you know, they've been known to be notoriously, you know, far right in terms of, you know, the political stance. Linda McMahon was on, like, I think Trump's, you know, cabinet or something in whatnot. You know, they have been one of the main companies that haven't really, you know, spoken out too much about things happening in the world right now. But you have wrestlers again, something that you probably didn't see too much back in the day, but really taking a stand. Like, you know, I know we talked about it before. Randy Orton is the guy who's speaking out for a lot in WWE. The New Day, that's a black group. You know, they come out to the ring and have taken a knee and did different stuff. So it's interesting to see how wrestlers within the company are, you know, talking about and going about the things happening in the world today, while the company as a whole, you know, maybe not to my knowledge, I'm not sure. Maybe, I don't know if the WWE has come out with any kind of statements or anything in regards to, you know, the Black Lives Matter movement and social injustice taking place.
They have. The WWE's in itself came out with a statement.
Okay, all right, because, you know, along with a lot of stuff we just talked about that they've been doing over the years, you know, it's always interesting with their stances for that kind of stuff. But times are changing, man, within a lot of different.
And we're just talking about race. We don't even want to get started what they did with how they representing women in WWE.
Oh my goodness, that race is one thing, but how women have been represented in WWE has really come a long way. You know, they're trying so hard nowadays to get away from what it was. If you're a female in WWE back in the day, as long as you have big titties, you're good to go.
And you better make sure that you were going to expose them somehow, otherwise you wasn't going to get TV time.
Pretty much. You were a female, you need to have big titties, and if they weren't big and you want to be a wrestler, I feel like I've heard stories where men backstage have told women, hey, if you want to make it, you better get implants or something. Because
that's crazy.
That's how it's going to work for you here.
It was so raunchy. Like, I remember I'd watch wrestling, and anytime they started showing, like, they called them divas at the time, the WWE divas, I had to look over my shoulder and make sure no one popped in on my pants. Like, what the hell are you watching? Because they'd be bra and panty matches. It'd be
wet t-shirt
concert. The commentators would go, yeah. Oh my God! Yeah. Oh, look at the bras! Oh, he'd be going
women
off.
In WWE were only looked at in one fashion.
It's horrible.
It's just, you know, sex symbols. You know, no matter who they were working with or coming to the ring with or whatever, they were just looked at as sex symbols. And I mean, over the years, it's changed. You know, because they're no longer called divas anymore. They're called superstars. You know, the female superstars. You got the male and the female superstars of the WWE. I mean, but that's another thing that's changed wild over the years, because they definitely were not in the same light, looked at in the same light years ago. But yeah, man. Anything else you want to add on with the WWE and how they just have been in terms of over the years, their progression?
I mean, there's progression. There's always work to be done when it comes to WWE. I feel like they got away with a lot of the stuff that they were really good at, and creating stories and having good matches, and just started becoming too gimmicky for me and started getting too wild. And that's why I stopped watching around the 2009, I'd say 2008, 2009. I stopped watching wrestling because I started losing the joy of watching good fights and seeing storylines that lasted 6-7 months, that built up and that really drew you to it. And I felt like they started to get away from that. They started doing too many. They want to be too much antics with it, and you know, that's why I lost it. But when we're talking about characters and, you know, how we view women now in the WWE, it's definitely gotten a lot better. Headline now, women are headlining WrestleManias and things, getting their own pay-per-view. So that's dope to see. I remember when Ronda Rousey came to WWE, that was a huge thing for them. So,
all right, last question before we switch topics. This goes to anybody tuned in as well who used to be a fan of wrestling like Marv and I. Your top 5 wrestlers.
What's up, Jazzy?
What's going on? Top 5 wrestlers of all time, Marv.
Whoa, top 5 wrestlers of
top 5 wrestlers of all time.
And this is my favorite then. My top 5.
Favorite top 5, same thing.
Okay. Undertaker. Eddie Guerrero. Rest in peace.
R.I.P. to Eddie Guerrero. Viva la raza.
Rey Mysterio.
Whoa.
Yeah, I liked Rey a lot. The Rock.
Yeah. Been a lot of guys.
A lot, and when I pick one, I'm gonna be leaving out a lot of good wrestlers.
Sure are.
Damn.
That's 4. That's your Mount Rushmore. That's my Rushmore.
I gotta think of my 5th. Shoot.
Right, let me give you mine then. Definitely order for sure. Maybe it's gonna be Rock, The Rock for sure. Stone Cold. The Undertaker. Shawn Michaels. And oh man, yeah, the last one's tough.
Tough. See, like Stone Cold, Shawn Michaels, all those guys are in the bubble. I really like Shawn Michaels.
Shawn Michaels is great, and I need a 5th too. I might have to go Randy Orton.
I like Randy.
I might have to go Randy Orton. That might be my 5. Undertaker, Rock, Stone Cold, Shawn Michaels, Randy Orton. Randy Orton's another guy who's been around for a grip.
Who did I have?
Still going strong.
You
said
Taker,
Rock, Eddie Guerrero.
Yep, Rey Mysterio. Oh boy. And then I might have to go.
So many names, man.
So many. I really liked Goldberg, but I didn't see him enough to put him. I really like it. That dude just came in. That dude came in. I loved it. I loved knowing what was gonna happen. Him walking out the locker room, coming in.
His entrance. His entrance is great.
I'm gonna go Shawn Michaels.
Okay.
Cause they think I'm cute.
The young Shawn Michaels.
I know I'm sexy.
That song was great. When he was young back in the day, that dude come out with mad energy.
You got to think about the entrance. I used to do that.
Everybody used to do that thing. Everybody used to do that, and then he had the DX. Everybody used to do that.
I had to go Shawn Michaels just because outside of being a great wrestler, everything about his showmanship,
entertainment, it's a lot that goes into it. But yeah, moving on, switch topics a little bit. NASCAR, big story in NASCAR in the last couple of days. Bubba Watson, who I believe is the only, black racer a part of NASCAR currently. Obviously with things that have been going on for that last several weeks, months, in terms of, people standing up for the social injustices taking place in the world and Black Lives Matter movement. Bubba Wallace with his sport is taking a stand as well and hoping that NASCAR, has his back because that's who he works for. And for the most part, it seems like NASCAR has, had his back and made statements in terms of what they feel about, Black Lives Matter movement and whatnot. They went as far as saying that the Confederate flag, which is something that's been prominent within NASCAR over the years, is no longer welcome and is completely banned from any of their events. But recently, in the garage that Bubba Wallace is using for his car and his team and whatnot, a noose was found in there. And I don't think I need to explain what a noose is and what it means to, black people in this country. But a noose was found in the only black racer's garage. Huge story broke out. Obviously, when you hear that, some dumbass out there is trying to send a message clearly on where they stand and how they feel about, Bubba Wallace and just how they feel and stand in general. And I mean, the response from that was huge. Obviously, many people had his back as supportive. Different, NASCAR analysts going on ESPN showing their displeasure and how pissed off they were. There was a race the following day in the race, the drivers come out with their cars and whatnot, but every racer, crew member, walked with Bubba Wallace in his car to the starting line, which was amazing to see.
That was really dope.
with just the support that he had after that happened. Obviously now the FBI got involved, and from what I read today, they said Noose had been in the garage since October of 2019. So there's no way that Noose could have been put there because of Bubba Wallace. That's what the reports are coming out now saying. Regardless of when the Noose was there, what year, when, who, still a Noose, which has a negative representation.
Why was it there in the first place?
Why was it there in the first place?
And
and I don't know if I necessarily believe this. Oh, it was there in 2019.
Yeah, I mean, that's true too.
I don't know if I believe that, man. I know people going, well, the FBI investigated and they found it. I don't know, man. It's just weird to think about. I don't know if Bubba Wallace was racing in 29. I think maybe he was, but according to the reports, I believe he wasn't using that same garage. He just moved started using that garage. So if the Noose was put there in 2019, was it supposed to be directed at another driver who's probably white? I don't know how I feel about this FBI report and if I believe it. It's just a weird coincidence that even if it was put there several months ago and just is now popping up after many people has used this garage, and it just so happens to pop up when a black driver is using that garage. That's still, it don't sit right with me.
And so when I'm reading, this is a weird story too. So Twitter wasted no time trying to call him Bubba Smollett. Shout out to Juicy Smollett.
Oh, snap.
But Twitter wasted no time.
Oh, snap.
But from what I read is it was NASCAR that reported the news, not Bubba. And Bubba just reacted off of what he was told. And then so NASCAR did the FBI investigation. They found out that it was there a year prior.
Tell me, Bubba didn't even find it himself?
That's what I read. When you're not a NASCAR guy, when you read things, you don't know if it's from the
Marv and I will say it here directly to the camera. Don't know much about NASCAR.
Like if you tell me something about NFL and you told me, oh, I saw that on Bleacher Report, I understand it. If I'm reading some NASCAR news, I can't tell you if it's a reliable NASCAR news. I really can't. But from what I read, and I tried to do my due diligence, it wasn't Bubba who found the news. So he doesn't deserve any type of backlash if for some reason it really wasn't from last week or whatnot. He just was going off of what was reported to him that was in his garage, as he should have done. And he's been from everything that I've seen, he's really stepping up on this, taking his platform with NASCAR and really trying to demand some change. So shout out to him, man. He's making me want to, next time the NASCAR race is something big, I will tune in just to see how he does. So, but with that case, the Noose is crazy. That's crazy.
Yes.
That is really,
we all know what it represents.
That's really crazy. And NASCAR history doesn't deserve any benefit of the doubt. You guys waved the Confederate flag for years. So if the news comes out like this, that means no one was shocked about it. They did their due diligence, they got the FBI, but a noose in the garage, man. But we will do what we need to do, just like Juicy Smollett. If we hear more news on Double M, we'll come correct it and
Absolutely.
give out our reactions throughout.
Juicy Smollett.
That was our first show.
That was like one of our first shows. Shout out to T-Mac. That was one of our first shows for real. Here's something that has come up that I came across, I believe, on Twitter and whatnot. So, Bubba Wallace, black NASCAR driver, has used his platform to speak his mind and show where he stands in terms of Black Lives Matter, police brutality, social injustices going on in the world. And for the most part, it seems NASCAR supported it or not gone against anything he's done, said, and seems to be in support of with him, stand with him. People look at that like, damn NASCAR, or damn NFL, when you had an athlete trying to do pretty much everything Bubba Wallace was doing, look how y'all treated him at the time and pretty much kicked him off the league. People are drawing the comparisons to the two. I mean, obviously, you know, Bubba Wallace didn't necessarily start a movement like Kaepernick started a movement by taking a knee and whatnot. But Bubba Wallace is making it clear where he stands with everything happening in the world. And NASCAR, in a sense, hasn't turned their back on him like the way NFL turned their back on Colin Kaepernick. Just an interesting comparison to see with the two, you know, athletes in their respective sport and organization.
It is interesting. I would love to see if that's like an article or anything, but that is an interesting comparison. Look, NFL completely turned their back on Kaepernick and everyone else who stood by his side. You had the president Trump come out and show his dismay. You had owners like now if any owners or anybody says anything about kneeling, you know, the media is gonna be like, oh no, what the hell? But 2016, we're making it sound like it was 20 years ago. But in 2016, that was the norm. People were coming out against, if you're kneeling, this is that. And like, it was a real struggle to get people to understand about this kneeling. It was a real struggle. Now, if anyone wants to come out against the kneeling, you know, you're looking at people crazy. So definitely NFL's trying to, I guess, gear towards that right way, but NASCAR has reacted right away, and it helps that they have a black face in the sport to really push that movement.
Huge indeed. And again, everything the NFL is saying right now, you know, you got owners coming out saying, hey, they'd be interested in bringing on Colin Kaepernick. You've had Roger Goodell, the commissioner, come out and said, hey, teams should definitely look at Colin Kaepernick. And then the guy who was so against Colin Kaepernick before and him kneeling at anything, you know, Trump himself has came out and said he believes that Kaepernick should get another shot in the NFL. And everybody's saying the right things now with everything happening. And it's very interesting to see how times have changed. People have changed their tune in terms of how they're feeling and whatnot. But yeah, you know, Bubba Wallace is in a sport where, you know, black people were never really prominent at all. And then if you look in the fans, like you said, Confederate tailgating and whatnot in the stands, you know, people who have no problem waving that Confederate flag, which brings a whole nother conversation. The Confederate flag, you know, still being accessible in this country. And I was having a conversation with, you know, shout out to my guy Black Celtic on Twitter, you know, saying how in Germany, the Nazi flag or the Nazi symbol is completely banned because they know what that represents to their history. They don't stand for that nonsense. So Nazi anything is completely banned in that country. Here in the United States, apparently, there are still places manufacturing, creating, and selling the Confederate flag, which makes absolutely, positively zero sense to me. And I remember years ago, I put something on Facebook about the Confederate flag and why is it still in the country. And someone had the nerve to say, well, it represents, you know, it's a part of the history. It's the history of this country. You know, no matter how you feel about it, it's history.
What does that mean? Put it in a damn museum or something, and that's it.
We went back and forth on this is like 4 or 5 years ago. I went back and forth with someone on Facebook telling me the Confederate flag is a part of history. Like no matter how you feel about it, it's a part of history, which is why it's still, you know, it's still out there. That don't mean nothing to me. I don't care. Yes, in the history of the United States, the Confederate flag played a role in the history. But there's a reason why, you know,
it shouldn't be. It should exist.
There's a reason why a war took place.
Right.
The Confederates lost to the Union. Confederates lost. The flag serves no purpose anymore. One flag is waving now. And that's the United States red, white, and blue flag. And then on top of that, if the history behind the Confederacy and the flag itself, in terms of people who look like us, people who look like me, is so much deeper than that. I don't want to see a Confederate flag anywhere. And again, the fact that it's still accessible in this country, in different parts of this country, and you can go buy it or what, I just don't understand it.
Buy it, probably. I wouldn't be surprised right now if I went on Amazon and typed in Confederate flag.
Like, honestly, I don't know the rules and the laws in Germany in terms of it being banned or whatnot. But like, if you get caught with a Confederate flag, that should be some kind of broken law or fine or something. Because I bet in Germany they say it's banned. Some kind of consequence has to come with it if you get caught with Nazi sign or flag or something like that.
Yeah, and then part of me is like, I'd rather you do have it. Don't bring it to public places, but if you want to put a Confederate flag in your crib outside your window, hey, I know
who you are.
Show me who you. I'd rather know my enemies. I'd rather know my enemies than not have them hiding. So I get it. They shouldn't be in any public places. They shouldn't be anywhere waved, anywhere of that nature where you are targeting our history, who we are, our culture. But if you want to put that in your own home, you let us know who you are. Hey, mark your territory. Got it.
Why? But yeah, back to the whole NASCAR Bubba Wallace news thing. Like Marv said earlier, whatever more information comes with that, we'll be sure to let you know right here on Double M. But we want to get to another topic. I don't know. See, I don't know. Obama, George Floyd. I'm confused.
What are you trying to say, Daniel?
I don't know what this Daniel person on our YouTube is saying, but yeah, cool. We're gonna keep it here moving on Double M. Like we said over the last couple of weeks, COVID is still running rampant in this world. And you got sports leagues like the NFL, NBA, MLB trying to continue making things happen. NBA is trying to restart the league. NFL is trying to get things started. MLB is also trying to get things started. But let's focus in right now on the NBA and the NFL. NBA is going through a process, setting up the bubble. Orlando trying to set that up in terms of having it play. Again, trying to do that, still NBA's contact is still prevalent within the NBA. So that and how COVID plays a part into that is interesting to think about. NFL, who hasn't really come out with any kind of guidelines or set up to how to combat COVID-19, they haven't really said anything on that front, is a completely full-fledged contact sport. So when I think about how the NFL is trying to get started, it's crazy to think about what it looks like.
I don't know what's going to happen with the NFL. And I'm going to say this right now. The NBA, and this is something I didn't have a feeling about 2 weeks ago. NBA currently should not have a season. I know that's crazy. I know it's real crazy, and you're not going to find a bigger basketball fan than me. But the NBA should not have a season. Whatever we're talking about, Florida, where they're about to have it.
Florida's numbers are crazy.
Florida's numbers are crazy. The players mentally now, I don't think the players are going to be ready. Like, you already have some distrust with what's going on with COVID, and if it's real, if it's not real. You have the Black Lives Matter. You got people, having a split already. I don't think the NBA players are ready to full on go. last month, 2 months ago, if you asked me, should the NBA start in July? Would there be an asterisk if anyone wins? I said no. There's no asterisk. It's even tougher. The more and more we're getting closer and closer to this date, I don't think there should be an NBA season. I'm not even going to get to NFL right now. NBA should just cancel what they have. Wait, be patient. Throw it up as a lost season. You guys lost the season. We lost it due to COVID-19. Sorry, LeBron. Sorry, other older players. Like, obviously, the fans, we lose out. But let's get this. Let's do this the right way. Let's get it right. Get these numbers settled. Get the whatever vaccine is supposed to happen. Because eventually, what is going to happen? Just like the NFL, you're going to have to vaccine or get these players tested every single day when they're out there in Orlando. Every day they're going to have to get tested because they can get coronavirus at any second in Orlando. Now you're telling me they can't leave hotel rooms. You're telling grown-ass men they can't leave hotel rooms. They can't go out this. They can't do that. It's not going to work out. Jovan said, scrap the NBA season. God forbid when the players contact the virus. But if that happens, they're going to have to scrap it. Like, I don't understand. Obviously, they have plans if players are going to get COVID, right? They're not going to say we're just going to scrap the season. One player gets it because one player will get it. One player will get it. So what do you?
Is very high.
And then what happens if Giannis from the Bucks gets COVID and he can't play, but the rest of the Bucks have to play? Like, what?
Hey, man, the NBA is trying. They're trying.
They have to let it go
to make it happen because they want to get their business rolling. The NFL, the NHL, the MLB are all trying to follow suit. But
if LeBron James got COVID, and the season's gonna have to continue, LeBron James gets COVID-19 against the Clippers. He gets COVID. The NBA is gonna go on fire.
Yep.
They're going to go on fire. They just lost any type of leverage, or I don't even know what word I'm trying to use, but that's bad. It's a bad look if you risk LeBron James or Giannis Antetokounmpo to get COVID-19 and you tell them, well, the season must go on. They just can't play. They got to stay in the hotel room. What do you do when that happens there? The star caught COVID-19. What do you do?
It happened in Utah. Both their stars caught.
So, like, I think the NBA, you got players that don't want to play because they have free agency they gotta think about. They're not trying to risk their bodies. Let it go. Let it all go.
They've come too far now to do it. They've come too far now to scrap it.
They haven't. If the numbers keep going up, that's your perfect excuse to say, guys, we can't do it.
But all signs are pointing to them still trying to push forward and make it happen. I've teetered back and forth with, oh man, sports should come back if they can figure it out. And then on the other side, I'm like, yo, this thing is bigger than sports right now. It's bigger than sports. Man. You're talking about lives being at stake. It's much bigger than sports. Do we need to watch basketball, football, baseball, hockey that bad and put lives in jeopardy? And we're not even talking about the players' lives. We're talking about, the coaching staff, the assistants, training staff, and then these people who have families that they go back to and see and whatnot. It's a lot of ramifications that come off of, sports coming back. And if a player gets, sick and who they touch and who they're around, there's so much that comes off of it. Do we really need to see sports right now? I don't think so. Obviously people miss sports. People love sports. That's that love and passion for sports hasn't gone anywhere for anybody, I don't think. But at the same time, if you're talking about lives being in stake, lives being in jeopardy, I think I know I could do it a couple more months.
You're alive, right?
I can do it a couple more months without sports. It's not going to stress me out knowing that, damn, I can't watch basketball for the rest of the. If you told me there's not going to be any more sports for the rest of 2020 because they're trying to do everything in terms of containing and stopping and slowing down COVID-19, it's an automatic yes. I don't care. You know, it's much, like I said, it's much bigger than me sitting on my couch trying to turn on to ESPN, TNT, or whatever these channels are that are supposed to show these games. I'm good with it, knowing that at the opposite end of that, we're trying to slow this thing down or potentially stop it, wait for a vaccine, whatever the case is. Like, I'm good with not watching any sports.
So that's the NBA. And, you know, Mike's saying that it's going to happen. You know, obviously I said I don't think it should happen. NFL, it can't happen. like that's the one sport I feel like it's impossible to do it the right way. I've been trying to think of any type of ways. We've had conversations like this on the Patriots roundtable, but what are they supposed to do? You have reports coming out today like, oh, they won't need to huddle. They'll have speakers that they can just say what it is. Stupid. So at the end of the day, this is what you do: attach damn flags to their sides. Then,
yeah,
turn it
flag football.
Call it flag football. What is this? If you don't want them touching each other, doing this, getting close to each other, then it's not football. And right now, it can't happen.
Yeah, football can't happen.
It can't happen.
NFL can't have the season.
That's the only sport where you have the most. I know they're wearing helmets, and I think you brought up Halo helmets or something
helmets
like
that completely cover every aspect of their head.
There's 52 players on a team, plus the coaches, plus training staff, plus media's got to be there. There's so much that has to go. And then you're talking about a bubble system like the NBA. There's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of more people that are involved in the NFL compared to the NBA, where it is 5v5. I don't get it, man.
I don't see the NFL how they succeed, especially in some of these big states. Like we said, the numbers are rising. Hockey too. Hey, Jimmy, hockey's similar to the NFL in a sense. In terms of contact, you think? I think NFL has the most contact, obviously.
Right.
NBA, if anything, has the more
easier way to
transfer skin contact.
Easier to transfer COVID.
Like they
NBA.
twisting and dribbling, sweat,
spitting and all.
Flying. You know, NHL is kind of similar to football in a sense with their contact. Baseball has the least amount of contact. Baseball might be the only one that
should be playing right now.
Baseball's the only one. But they just been arguing about how many games they're gonna play.
Baseball should have been going on right now.
They're playing in Japan, Korea.
They're playing fine. That game is social distancing at its finest.
Baseball should happen, no problem. Basketball, hockey, and football are very questionable in terms of how they get it going, knowing the amount of contact that players are going to have with each other. And then after they leave the arena, the field, the contact they're going to have with everybody else. It's a lot to think about. I know the NBA is trying. I don't know what the NFL has in mind, and I'm not sure what NHL has in mind as well. You know, they all are saying they want to come back, but can they really make it happen knowing that this thing is still prevalent in this world?
It's either you say, F it, we're playing, and we're just going to do everything normally, or you say we're going to find a way to combat it. And you can't with the NFL. Yeah. You can't. Look how the players line up. Look at huddle, offensive linemen, running backs. Like this, it's impossible to try to do the NFL the right way. Unless you come out and say, we do not care. If the players want to sign a contract or waiver, say they want to play it the right way, then that's how it's going to be. Those are the only two options. You can't social distance NFL.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting within the next couple, because let's get it. NFL is supposed to start really taking shape within the next couple of weeks. I think July is training camp.
Yeah.
You know, obviously OTAs and whatnot. NFL is really supposed to start taking shape within the next couple of weeks, because the Hall of Fame game is supposed to take place in August.
Yep.
They got to figure it out quick. But like Marv was saying, and I'm in agreement, I don't know how it's going to work, and it probably shouldn't take place, you know, knowing that COVID-19 is still out there. Again, I'll say before I say it again, I love sports. I've loved sports since the day I really got an understanding of what they were and what not. But if this choice is on the table in front of me, play sports and risk people getting sick and COVID spreading because of sports and whatnot, and players and families getting affected, or not playing sports and try to slow it down and wait for a vaccine and do different things to combat COVID, it's an easy decision for me. Like, I think the NBA and NFL obviously puts them in a tough position, but you got to figure out a way to compensate your players still. I mean, there's a lot that goes into it. Because players like, there's players out there who are not LeBron or not Brady who like, yo, I need to get paid and make money.
Just think about the people on their rookie contract.
I don't have any other way. Basketball is all I know, and I finally made it to the league. This play,
even players are making good money. They were making their lifestyle was about them making good money. So now, how are they paying off the car? How are they paying off the crib? If they're not,
they don't have endorsements and different stuff. Like, there's people out there, players, athletes, who need this NBA money. Need it. Yeah. So it's very interesting to see how it breaks down, man. It's a lot to think about, and that goes into playing and not playing.
Like Funky Roller says, sport fans' lives matter. There's not gonna be no type of fans,
and don't care about the sports fans right now.
There's not gonna be any type of fans in any of these games in 2020. That's for sure. Some sports can happen, like UFC's been doing it right. They've been doing it right. They've tested all the players. The players that don't have it. You're in contact with one other person. Your trainers are apart. There's no fans. Yeah, you can have UFC. I believe baseball should be the easiest one. That if they weren't having all of these disputes and everything, they could have been having their season. Easy.
And soccer, I don't think it can happen.
Soccer, they've been doing it without. They started doing it without fans a little bit, but that's another.
It's a lot of contact in sport. Yeah. A lot of contact in that sport. I mean, in some places, they're still making it happen, which is interesting. I don't watch soccer, so I don't necessarily know what it looks like. But again, if sports is a sacrifice so we can get through this COVID-19 phase, this time period we're in right now, I don't need to watch it. Thankfully, I'm into video games. I play a lot of Madden, 2K, and baseball. I'm fine with doing that. And no, I can wait. I can wait patiently till maybe possibly 2021 for these seasons to come back. Like, I'm in no rush to watch sports, knowing that COVID is out there affecting people's lives.
Yeah, it is. With all of them, obviously it sucks with the NBA because the NBA and hockey were prevalent to the NBA. NBA was in the middle of their season, right? Yeah. And this was a great season.
First season in a long time that was up for grabs in a sense.
This was a great season, and as a Celtics fan, this is a great test to see where the team was going to be for the future. And you get robbed if they do what I think they should do. You get robbed the playoff year from Tatum. You get robbed the playoff year from Brown. A moment for Kemba to step up and change how we view him in the NBA history books. But all of that gets robbed. Luckily for the Celtics, compared to other teams, they're a young team. Their core is going to have many years to make up for it. But I just don't think there should be a playoff year, and I don't even think that they should try to move it back. And I think you need to scrap the season. The season needs to go.
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna have to see. It was Dirk saying soccer doing fine so far. My guy Funky Roller saying we can watch golf and tennis. I mean, again, there's some sports that can make it work. Baseball, we think it can happen. Tennis, obviously, you don't even have to come next to somebody in tennis. Golf, same thing. You not really have to contact anybody in golf. There's some sports that can happen, but then there's the contact sports that is just like, especially when there's multiple UFC and boxing contact sports, but for the most part, it's just two people in the ring, going at it.
But even with some of these sports like tennis, for example, the best player, Djokovic, has COVID, so he's not going to be in a tournament, right? So another
Nobody
player,
is safe.
so another player gets to win possibly, and didn't get to slay the dragon and Djokovic because he was home while the tournament. So it's like, I guess you can try to treat it like, oh, treat it as if Djokovic had an injury and someone else take it, but it's like, it's not a fair advantage for anybody. Once again, in the NBA, what does the NBA do if LeBron catches COVID-19 during this tournament? The world is going to lose their minds. The world is going to lose their minds if LeBron James gets COVID-19 during this tournament.
Yeah, man. I don't know what else to say other than I can do without sports. We've gone this far.
Surprisingly,
we've gone this far without losing our minds because there's no sports. I can go even longer with no sports. If it means trying to get through COVID-19, man, I can handle it. I think I can. I've been doing all right so far.
Doo 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 doo. Oh,
like thank God for YouTube. If you ever want to go back and watch highlights of your favorite athletes, your favorite teams, shout out to gaming systems like the Xbox and PlayStation where you can play as your favorite team and player. Like shout out to those things.
I'm in the 4th season of my Madden franchise.
Yeah, I'm getting through my seasons of
4th
of baseball and basketball.
I'm in 2022 or 2023. Brady's long gone.
Those are what's keeping my sports itch, going right now. I mean, obviously, the real thing, no, but it's something sports related in the sense. I'll win the damn championship with the Celtics and the Red Sox, sure.
Living in the COVID 19. That's where we are, man.
Any final thoughts here, Marv? Excuse me, as you know.
On the double end, we spoke about tennis, golf, wrestling, NASCAR, WWE. We do it all here.
We touch on everything. And that was only sports. We touch on everything. We can come on here and talk about music. There's so much music that's dropped that I'm not hip to, that I need to get hip to. We might have to bring back
Ronald's hit.
Hey, living in the COVID 19. We might have to bring back Music Minute with Marv. That's what we called it.
Oh, I don't know what we called it.
Go back to that. Bring back a music, get people hip to some things to listen to as they get started in the summer.
Yeah, man. We'll definitely do something
next show.
Definitely do something fun for next week.
But
anybody else?
Hey, shout out. That's
living
Cuzzo, Rondo.
Living in the COVID. Sheltered in place, keeping my distance. Ooh.
Hey, man. It's Double M.
Yes, sir.
Myself, Mr. Mike Nice, right here next to me's.
Another great one, my guy. Another great one. Can't wait to be in studio again.
Soon come.
But like the NBA. Soon. We'll do it when it's right. Hopefully, do it when it's right. And any type of news we get from Bubba Wallace and on, we'll be here next week to bring it on forth with y'all. So appreciate everyone. If you are new right now, if you are watching, I got 2 things for you to do. I need you to subscribe that right now. Hit the subscribe button. Next thing I need you to do is like that button.
Hey, Ron, he said, do we talk about stocks? You know what?
Yes.
I tell you what, Ron, next time you up here and we have an artist on the show, please come on here.
Educate us.
And talk about stocks and educate us.
Yes, sir. That'd be dope. That'd be dope.
I know for a fact you know about it, Ron. So please, we want you as a guest to speak on that for sure.
Definitely, man. Guests will be coming soon.
Various guests, various things going on in their lives that we can talk about, and just so much to come here on Double M. Stay tuned, like, subscribe, all of that.
Appreciate y'all. Y'all be safe. We'll see you next week.